It's on vinyl and vision.
Oh man, can you see me sweating? It is too hot for this shit. I'm going to make this real quick. Hello folks, thanks for tuning into the latest episode of Vinyl and Vision. This is episode 49 with my very special guest, Matt Korvette. So Matt is an amazing singer and frontman of the Philadelphia band Piss Jeans. He's also a very talented writer and evidently a huge music buff. He chose the album tonight, Not So Quiet on the Western Front, which is a 1982 compilation, punk rock compilation, presented by Maximumrocknroll magazine and released by Alternative Tentacles Records, which, as some of you may know, is Jello Biafra's record label, the Jello Biafra from the Dead Kennedys. It's a great comp, and it really speaks to the influence on Matt and his, in his journey in music and kind of like what he creates and how he creates it. And we talk in depth about that, actually. It was very, very insightful. I really enjoyed this talk. I think Matt's a great, absolutely wonderful person, really great person to speak with. It was just so easy to kind of just talk with him and kind of share ideas and just, ask him the stupid questions that I come up with, and he was completely in great sport. So I thank Matt very much for taking the time, and I hope you guys really enjoy it. We ask here at Psychic Static to please do all the things you do, like, share, subscribe, comment, yada 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 yada. You do it all day long on the internet anyway. Do it for us, please. We'd be very thankful to you. Rate and review, and if you know what, send us messages too. Like, find us on social medias, or you can message us through our website, psychicstatic.net. And like I've been trying to say it for every show now, subscribe to us and follow us, of course, obviously, first and foremost, and then let us know who you'd like to see next on the show. I'm very open to suggestions, and the more people reach out to me and let me know who they think would be a good fit for this show and who they'd like to hear from, the more I will be able to find them, reach out to them, and even persuade them to possibly join me here and do the show for you. So that's it. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. With you?
Yeah, totally.
There you go. That way I get to see your beautiful face a lot better.
All right, sweet. Sounds good.
How are you doing?
Doing great, man. Friday night.
Yeah, huh? You got any plans?
Yeah, I'm gonna roll out and have some fun after this. So see some friends.
Yeah.
Should be good.
How's you were in Pittsburgh, correct?
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Cool. So what's it like with the world reopening? I mean, how's it look for you?
Pretty great. I don't know. I'm ready to see some people. I got my shots, and I had COVID in February, so I feel pretty safe to exist again around other people.
Right.
Within reason. I mean, it's like summertime, so a lot of outdoor hangs.
Yeah. It's the time to be out and enjoy and see people,
Totally, yeah. And I've been seeing tons of people. Went to a show last night. That was super fun.
Oh yeah, what'd you see?
This band called Birds of Maya. They're like Philadelphia, like very like high-rise Japanese like blues rock, blown out sort of like thing.
Okay.
And like they're really nice guys, and there's like a big friend group around them that I got to see, of people I haven't seen in like a year and a half. So it was a really nice time.
Nice. That sounds great, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean, considering we're talking about, the pandemic ending and kind of like the world reopening, I mean, what do you guys have any plans? I mean, what's the reopening looking like for you?
Like for Piss Jeans, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to play some shows probably in a few months. Maybe closer to the fall or winter. We've been working on like writing a bunch of music, which has been super fun.
Yeah.
Because our first practice back was in like late April of this year. We weren't like getting together during the pandemic at all.
Right.
So, I mean, we would just like talk on the phone and like shoot ideas back and forth, but that's not really how we generally like write stuff.
Of course. No, man, you guys are a tight band. I mean, you guys need to be in a room.
It's just an hour together in person equals like 10 hours of texting or emailing, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I bet. Well, that's great. How does it feel to get back with the band and like, get back in a room?
Oh man, I'm feeling so good. Yeah, it's been great. Like our drummer Sean has like a new house out in the burbs, so we play in his garage, and
Nice.
it's like doesn't feel as hurried as like when you're renting a room by the hour, to practice in. So
Right.
it's been really good.
That's great, man. All right. So then coming back in, let's just go ahead and get right into this.
All
I
right,
like
great.
I like to ask a little bit about your history kind of growing up. Like you grew up in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, right?
Right, right, right.
And so and how many do you have like siblings or stuff?
I have a younger sister.
Yeah. Okay. And you're about 39 or are you 40 now?
Yeah, I'll be 40 in a couple months.
Oh, okay. Cool. So we're almost the same age. I'm actually a little older than you.
Oh, okay, cool.
Um, so growing up, what was music like in the house for you?
Um, it was always present, like as a little kid, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it was always around, but I don't know that that really made a big impression on me. I definitely took to it by like early elementary school, like into Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue and stuff. That was like Guns N' Roses are still like one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with them.
No.
Like Faith No More, I got really into, and yeah, I don't know. Then what was it like? Rage Against the Machine hit, and I was super into that.
And that was like
And
what,
then
92ish, I think, right?
yeah, probably. I mean, like Nirvana, of course, loved them before Rage Against the Machine.
Right.
And then, like, probably by the time I was like 13 or 14, I had like hints of like underground rock, just
Mhm.
from going to record stores. And then by the time I was like 14, I was like into like Epitaph records.
Okay.
That sort of like, just beneath Green Day level of like undergroundness.
Yeah. Right. So now so what was your interest in music like as a kid? Because I mean, like, so like who introduced you to music first, like as a kid, like in the house? Was there like your parents into music at all, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, then like my dad would like play like light kind of jazz guitar stuff and Bob Marley or something. My mom be into like Michael Jackson or whatever, kind
Hmm.
of generic pop Van Morrison.
And you
Didn't I
dug it
mean
out.
I was like to me I always felt like that was my parents' music. Now it's
Right.
weird now where like all these people my age or younger love like my parents' music. It's like
There's
do you
something
not want to
relatable there.
rebel?
Well, I mean, there's something enjoyable about that music. I mean,
Oh,
you can
definitely. Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, I can appreciate pretty much any music or any form of music,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, like I definitely didn't feel like, oh, I want to be into what my parents like when I was like, 15 or whatever,
Right.
or even 10. I was like looking to
Yeah.
find my own path.
Uh-huh. And did you like what was your interest in making music as a kid? Did you get turned on to any musical instruments? Like did you take any
Yeah, I mean,
lessons?
like I bought a bass. I got a bass guitar when I was like 13, and I've played bass in a few bands through the years. I'm just not like very technically skilled in that way.
Yeah.
Like I can get by,
Sure.
but it's not like I love bass guitar. You know what I mean? It was like here's the lowest level of entry to like be in a band. Which worked for me.
Right.
And yeah, and I started like playing in bands probably by eighth grade, like trying to find a way to like make some punk music with like whoever was there. And then I ended up meeting a couple of my friends who are in Piss Jeans with me now, Randy and Brad, who were a grade older than me. So they were like sophomores when I was a freshman, and we all started playing music together too. Like there was like tons of bands with the same like 8 guys,
Hmm.
just shuffled into different formations. And I got to be a part of that and loved it right away. Oh yeah,
Hmm. Okay. So you kind of like you think that being like a front person was kind of your calling, like you felt immediately comfortable
I
doing
loved
it?
it. Yeah, yeah, it felt great. I mean, because that's what like after playing bass in my very very first band when I was like 13, where we never played, we played one birthday party, and it was like I was so nervous, it was terrible, like we sucked.
Yeah.
But then like I met these other guys who like had a little more experience, had already played like VFW halls and stuff, like actual shows, not like a birthday party.
Right.
And so they like kind of grasped it a bit more, and were definitely like understood what amps to have and stuff. And yeah, being with them, like I was down to try singing, and I loved it, you know.
Hmm. What would you say? Like, was there something that you kind of drew from to like kind of influence your presence as a front person or your singing style?
Huh. Trying to think of what I even like was into at that age. I mean,
Yeah.
we were like just soaking in so much stuff where it would be like, you know, ska punk and like grindcore and
Mm.
like anything that existed, like, you know, youth crew hardcore and like agnostic front and
Yeah.
anything that like we could get our hands on, we like just kind of soaked in, you know, like it wasn't
Right.
like we all just loved Operation Ivy and that was it, or we all loved the Misfits. It was like all across the board.
Yeah.
You know, like used CD stores shaped my tastes more than anything because it was like you could just spend $6 and get like a new CD, you know?
Yeah. And did you have
Yeah.
like a good like did the record stores that were around your neighborhood, like did they have a decent selection? Could you get stuff that was like, kind of like stuff that you'd be interested in?
Yeah, I lucked out. And like by the time I was like 16, a record store called Double Decker opened, which is still around today in Allentown, and it's like the best. And
Hmm.
the guy Jamie who runs it like is responsible for like 60% of my musical epiphanies through the past like 30 years, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a big deal. Just anything, you know, from like finding like Will Oldham or finding like Aphex Twin, you know, just like things I would have never figured out otherwise, just
Right.
stumbling upon there. Because you can just
Huh.
listen to whatever, like throw on a record if it looks weird, you know, like
Yep. Right. Have you ever worked in a record store?
I just worked at Double Decker like for a couple weeks through the years, you know, like
Okay.
filling in. No, never did. I would love that's like the dream job, I think.
Well, just because you saying that, how there was that guy that kind of turned you on to things and would kind of like suggest things to you, it's just like every store has that guy. And it's just like that's like a really godly position. Like this
Yeah.
dude that can like shape a young person that's not like a family member. That's just like, hey man, you ever hear of this? Like try this out. It's pretty cool.
No, I mean, I hope that's still. I mean, I feel like that's what I try to do, just with like the writing I'll do, or like talking to people. Like, I just want to turn people on to cool stuff that I'm into. You know, like
Yeah,
stuff that you're excited about. And I love when people do that for me. You know, the more people can tell me what they're psyched on, like I want to learn. You know.
yeah, for sure. And it's always good to have something like find something that's really hits you and that you can really
Yeah,
enjoy.
yeah.
Like your band, Piss Jeans. I mean, I didn't know about you guys until the end of last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was talking with the guys in the Hammer Party, and Dan told me he was just like, "Oh, you gotta reach out to Matt." I'm like, "Okay, sure. Who's Matt?" And so he tells me, and that's when I research it. I was just like, "Oh shit, okay." And like I've been listening to all of your records, and I fucking love it. It's
Oh,
like
great,
it's
sweet.
such good, intense punk music. It's like it's kind of refreshing. Like I don't feel
Oh,
like
that's
there's a lot
awesome.
of yeah. I don't feel like there's a lot of bands that are making music like that right now.
Yeah, I guess I mean not as much as like 10 years ago. You know,
Yeah.
maybe something like that.
But even 10 years ago, it wasn't even like, a popular thing. It wasn't something that was kind of like,
Right, right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just me and my buddies. We just like have an idea of what we want to do and like what we like out of it, and we have so much fun with it. Well, we're also not like super road dogs or like professional musicians where we're like 2 a year album cycle, you know, 4 month tour. So
yeah.
that's why it bums me out that like I think more people would like us if they knew we existed, but it's like
Hmm.
you have to get in people's faces for them to even find you these days. So
Right. Yeah, I
so
guess so.
whatever, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and like, well, so why is that? I mean, like, I understand that you guys have like day jobs and stuff like that. Like, you're not at that level where it's this is well, actually, I think what I read from interviews with you is that you guys don't even necessarily want to make music your job. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much that sounds like super annoying. You know, like suddenly, I'm already like I already want people to like what we do. Like we're definitely putting out records for other people to listen to. It's not like a personal project that only me and my friends can enjoy. You know,
Right.
like we make records with other people in mind. but I mean, we want to have like, it's so much fun, you know, like, and there's not a carefree in the world, you know, we're just doing our own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was like, well, we have to pay rent through this, I don't know, that sounds like stressful as could be,
Hmm. Yeah, I guess so.
you
I mean,
know?
like, but that, you know, and then that's the same thing. Like, in turn, if you were to, like, let's just say, quit the jobs and, like, you know, dedicate yourselves to the road, I mean, that could kind of make up that difference and kind of like even out, right? And then you could
Yeah,
get
I
in
mean,
front of more
maybe.
people.
But I mean, like, I love going on tour and trips, and like doing that for months sounds like hell, you know, in a
Hmm.
lot of ways.
Right.
It's like great. It's like all being in Pistons is like so special to me because it's like rare, and when we do it, we're all having the time of our lives. And it would probably be lost a little bit if we were doing this band like 9 months out of the year, you know, just
Right.
nonstop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas with me and my like Pistons, we've been around since like 2003, 2004 ish, and like we're having so much fun still. You know, like it's only gotten better. I feel like we're getting better
Yeah.
playing. We're better at playing shows, better at writing songs. It's like what a treat. I feel so lucky to have that. You know, rather than already have gotten so burnt out by being surrounded by these same three dudes like every waking moment. You know, like
Hmm.
being driven mad by all their little habits and stuff. You know, like there's none of that. Like whenever I get to see their habits now, it's like, you know, quaint and fun.
Hmm. That's great. Yeah, man. I guess that you're right. You know, might as well leave that alone and let it be what it is because it's the best way to work at it. You're in front of your records now, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. I got a little record zone.
Oh, I was gonna say, now that you moved in front of your records and I can see them,
Mm-hmm.
you are a collector. It seems a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Guilty as charged.
Yeah. Well, what's your relationship with records? Like, how what do you like about them?
I love them. I mean, I'm like a really big fan, and it's weird now seeing them as like treated as like a collectible toy market almost. You
Hmm.
know, kind of like a
Right.
weird like everything's like, you know, colored vinyl of the Simpsons soundtrack or something. You know, like
Yeah.
there's a lot of that going on, which is
Right.
enough to like turn you off a little, or turn me off at least. But no, I just like love putting on a record and listening to it. You know, I love like the tactile experience, you know, like having an actual record, looking at it,
Hmm.
the art that comes with. Like I just really connect with that as a package versus like Spotify streaming or something, you know.
Right. Right. And so how about for yourself as a musician releasing records? Like, you know, it was that super important to you to make sure that your music came out on vinyl?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's like that's the ultimate. I mean, even when I was doing bands in high school, like we got to do like 7 inches or split 7 inches, and like I couldn't believe it. You know, it was so cool to
Right.
like that just feels like such a level of like authenticity, or like a level, you know, like you've made it, you
You're
know, like a new,
established.
yeah, yeah, like a new proof that like you're worth listening to on some level, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I hear that. That's great. So now I asked you here to speak about a record that you think that influenced you and your art.
Right,
Um,
right.
so you chose the compilation "Not So Quiet on the Western Front."
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have a copy of that
I do.
on vinyl?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, sweet. Do you have like an original one? Like, I guess it's
I
pretty
do.
easy to tell because the early and the first pressings actually say Maximum Rock and Roll Presents. Because I guess further down the line
Right,
when they
right.
did
Yeah,
it,
no, I'm into like, I mean, embarrassingly, I'm into like original records and stuff like that. Like
all right,
pressing info can
nothing
factor in for me. But
nothing
yeah, no, I do
embarrassing
have,
about that really.
you know, it's kind of dorky, but what can you
Huh,
do, right? We all have our things.
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I have that like with the zine insert, and yeah, it's like I feel like it's an incredible choice for me. Like it's so truly inspiring for
Mm-hmm.
me, a real like game changer.
Yeah. And so tell me about when did you first find that record?
Well, I was I want to say like a freshman in high school, and was getting into like, you know, was already into punk and like discovering the local punk scene and stuff. And there was this one kid in my class who was not particularly punk. He was just like a skater. Like I would definitely like be a skater too.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Oh, I have like a record that my uncle gave me it's in my locker, and like somehow he showed me, it was like, kind of crumpled to fit into the locker,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh man, like I would like that, and he's like, he sold it to me for like $10 or something, this really like crumpled up copy.
Okay.
And I didn't have a record player at the time, like I just had like a CD player or whatever, but my parents did. And I remember like the first time listening to it was like Halloween, because it was like one of the first years like I was too old to trick or treat, and so I was like the one giving out the candy, and like there was a record player in my parents' living room, where I lived, so I was able to like play it there, and was just blown away, I guess, then. And like still to this, I was listening to it before we got on, just for the heck of it.
Oh, cool.
It's just like I could listen to it anytime. Like it's just, to me, it's like the perfect template in a lot of ways of like how to make punk music.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can hear it. I think I can really hear the influence of listening to some of these songs on this record, and then like kind of putting them next to like the Piss Jeans catalog.
That's cool. I mean, yeah, I would love to just like write songs like that.
Well, I think you do for the most part. I mean, they're a little different. Cool. It's your own take, and that's
right.
That's what influence is all about. You don't want to mimic what you hear, but just take little bits here and there from whatever you got.
Well, I mean, we do try to mimic it, but then it just comes out different anyway. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like, let's rip this off, and then it just comes off differently anyway.
Right. Yeah, that's true. It's inevitable, really.
Yeah.
So, let's just go ahead and get into this record.
Yeah, sure.
What I did was that because this album has fucking 47 songs on it, I went ahead and said, all right, I'm just going to select about 10 songs.
Okay, cool, yeah.
So I listened to the whole thing, quite a few times, and I kind of, I selected 11 altogether. So the ones that I chose was Intensified Chaos by Intensified Chaos.
Hell yeah.
Of course, it opens up the album, and you can't skip it. Social Unrest, Their Mistakes, Killjoy's Rich Plastic People, Fang, Fun with Acid, Square Cools, I Don't Want to Die for My Country, Los Olvidados, Pay Salvation. I have to say that with that fucking accent. I can't help myself.
Yeah, do it, yeah. that's how they'd want it.
I guess so, right? I don't know those guys. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, are they Mexican, or was their...
I don't know. I mean, it's all like pretty much Californian comp, so there's got to be like at least some Mexican, heritage going on in the personnel in these bands.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, Code of Honor, What Price Will You Pay? Bad Posture, GDMFSOB, Millions of Dead Cops, The Only Good Cop, Church Police, The Oven Is My Friend, and Rex, Punk is an Attitude.
Perfect. Yeah.
All right.
Love a fake British accent. Yeah.
Right. That was just one of the things, right? I mean, well, because you got to think, early '80s when these bands were around and writing and recording this stuff. I mean, that was kind of the biggest thing, right? Punk was basically coming over from Britain.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of people. Sex Pistols kind of dictated the template, but then it's also like I think like a lot of the bands, like maybe the average age of this comp, it's got to be like under 21 years old. You know what I mean?
As far
there's
as
there's probably a few like 20 or somethings, maybe a 30-year-old in there somewhere. But it was like interpreted by like young people who like only have scraps of like the Sex Pistols to go off of or whatever, or like local bands in their scene.
Right.
I feel like a lot of these bands were just like, I love like the community feeling and like the hunger to meet like-minded people. Like you're in Reno and you're like dying to know what's going on in like San Francisco, and you might have like one friend who got a demo tape and it has like an address on it, so you just write a letter to it, just to like those like putting out like beacon points to like connect. That like I really resonates with me, that need to like find like-minded people when you're probably surrounded by people you have nothing in common with.
Right. Yeah,
like,
for sure.
How you had to do it like pre-internet, like the effort it would take, and then the bonds that you make, because this comp is like very regional and it lists where the town where every band is from, like that means something.
Right.
To Maximum Rock and Roll compiling this.
What you were saying was something about creating a bond, like having like these kids, like you can imagine them like these what I was imagining when you were saying that was a feeling of like kind of being isolated, being a loner, like there's
Totally,
no
yeah.
one around you that understands you. Is that kind of how you felt as a kid growing up?
No, I mean, like, I mean, I always had friends, but yeah, probably like once I got into punk and like I moved to Nazareth like before eighth grade, so I didn't know anyone.
Hmm.
And like, luckily, like a year later, I was able to meet like some of my best lifelong friends. But I feel like, yeah, just have like, maybe the punk sensibility being one of like valuing artisticness and like questioning things that you're told. If you don't have those values, if you're not interested in like creativity or art, and if you're just looking to believe whatever like the authority figures tell you, I would have trouble relating with a person like that. And there's tons of those people. So back then, being able to like find my own like local tribe, which I did, was great.
All right, so Intensified Chaos by Intensified Chaos. So a couple of the lyrics that struck me was that right off the bat it says, "I don't care if society's right. I got to live my own life." So thinking about those lyrics, do you feel your punk ethos has waned as you got older, or are you still in
No,
it?
no, I mean, like, I'm probably more radical than I've ever been in how I like approach life, I would think.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, definitely. I mean, as you get smarter, you just get angrier at, how stupid the ruling class and elites and the systems that we like, participate in are.
Hmm.
How much you learn how much more complex racism is than when you thought it was when you were 15, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And so, yeah, no, I mean, like, I'm always trying to just reevaluate things and learn, and assess. So, yeah, I would hope to be more radical now than I was when I was 15 or something.
Hmm. Cool. That sounds great, man.
Yeah,
Um, so let's move on to the next song.
sure.
I wanted to make sure I included this song because I feel like this song reminds me a lot of Piss Jeans.
Okay, yeah.
It has some like, it kind of starts off one way. It's kind of, fast and intense, and it kind of has this part where it just kind of breaks into. It's kind of like mellows it out a little bit. It's kind of a
Yeah,
different
like
groove.
a zombie walk part.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's a great song. So I think it's funny because listening to this song, this is just one of the many songs on this compilation that has like strong political themes. Yeah. So with this album and some of the songs on here being influential to you, why don't you write about politics?
Um, I mean, I feel like I would write about it more from a personal perspective because that just feels more genuine and like honest. Like I definitely, and I don't think I'm like intelligent or like thoughtful enough to give like a broad view of things. I just find that
Hmm.
annoying. I don't know. It's just not me. Like
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about like my life, which will be political in a million ways,
Sure.
rather than be like war is bad, you know?
Right.
Because also like I'm not a soldier. I've never like, marched off to a different country. Like if I did, I'd be singing about that. If I
Right.
had like if my best friends like went to Vietnam or like something, then I'd probably have that a lot more to say about that.
Right.
But I'd rather just talk about me, you know,
Hmm.
and hopefully that can be relatable and people can see that it's coming from like a real sincere place.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I mean, it's not to say anything, negative about your lyrics. I mean, I think that your
Oh,
songs are
sure,
great.
yeah,
And there's always a thing like your songs tend to have a little bit of they're lighthearted and they have humor to them,
right,
and
right.
so I mean I appreciate it just the same. I'm personally not a really big political person anyway. I feel like it's just fucking, especially in today's like day and age, like it just seems like politics are so goddamn like isolating and like uh, divisive
I
to
mean,
people.
it definitely. I think with the internet, where you can just spout off stuff, it becomes like a team sport, kind of, where the way a person would root for the Boston Red Sox, they'll root for the Democrats or something.
Right.
Like
Right.
which is just like a great way for us to all be busy yelling at each other, for no real purpose, and
Right.
distract from like the severe inequality that's happening, or the fact that people are dying because they're not getting like diabetes medicine. Like it's much easier to just make it about like surface issues to yell at each other about.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like I would like. I mean, I love talking about politics with like friends and stuff, and like having meaningful conversations. But I'm not gonna like post a rant on the internet, and I'm not gonna like write lyrics in that manner either.
Right. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, let's move on. Let's move on to
Sure.
Fang. That's a fun little song.
Yeah, it's like you can tell like Kurt Cobain probably liked it. You know what I mean? Like it has that proto grunge feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
for
feel like
sure.
that was a big kind of sound for Piss Jeans, is like the hardcore punk bands that got mid tempo and that led the way to like the Seattle sound, like 8 years later or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a sweet spot for me and my band.
Huh. Do you feel like you ended up in the perfect place being on Sub Pop?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, where else would you want to go?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't really know anything about labels for the most part, but I mean that one is so iconic and so kind of like prestigious with a certain style of music. It's just
Totally,
like,
yeah.
all right, well then, let's get into Square Cools. I don't want to die for my country. All right, so Square Cools. I don't want to die for my country. One of the lines is, "Cause I don't want to kill someone I don't even know." Would you prefer to kill someone you do or do not know?
Um, I mean, I'd love to kill them both. Honestly, some strangers, some people I'm close with.
Dig
No, I
just
don't know.
dig into the serial murderer lifestyle.
Yeah, no, but yeah, what,
Yeah, I just think it's funny. I'm just like, why would you say like even if, that you don't know? Why does it matter? Why does it matter? I just don't want to kill anyone. Period.
Yeah, I think when you're 15 years old writing an anti-war song, you're not the smartest person to be doing it, but there's beauty in that.
Yeah, there's a like a naivete, some kind
Yeah,
of
I
like
love it. Yeah,
innocence. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I mean it's a great song. It means it. They mean well. I just think it's funny. All right. Well then, let's move on. We're gonna burn right through this record, man. We might
sounds
as well
good.
have done all 47. Code of Honor. What price will you pay?
Kind of a little preachy.
Okay. I agree with you. I mean, I think the note I wrote about this song was that there's something about this song that makes me think about the overwhelming integrity or moral compass some punks hold. And I think
Yeah.
we kind of discussed this a little bit already. But like, what are some of your core beliefs in regards to punk?
Huh. I mean, I guess I don't want to like define it for anyone, except myself, I guess. But like, I mean, and also like it's such a word. I mean, it could mean anything from like just the music or like the fashion or the philosophy. Like
Mm-hmm.
punk could mean like opening a soup kitchen. Like taking care of like the unhoused or something, or it could just mean like having a 9 foot tall mohawk. I feel like those both fit the definition and are completely different.
Right.
So I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, it's almost like a meaningless word because of how broad it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's true.
But yeah. So I don't know. I wouldn't want to like try to narrowly define it in any way. And the only thing, I guess, if I had to give it one like defining quality, it is to like just question things. Just to not just accept things at face value.
Hmm. That's a good one. I like that. All right, so let's move on to Church Police. The oven is
Oh,
my
awesome.
friend. I guess it was just kind of
So
getting good
good.
there. Yeah.
So good. Yeah, that one's a great one.
Yeah. So this song is weird. So it seems like it's a song that's dealing with a kid trying to commit suicide in his oven, and his mom catches
Yeah, I
him.
think probably just trying to like present like a perverse story to like freak you out and unsettle you a little bit.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I
Love it.
mean,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is probably more piss jeansy than many of the other tracks we've been listening to. Just
yeah,
fun, slow, kind of demented, like cool plotting bass.
right.
Like creepy guitar. Yeah, I love it. Love Church Police.
Okay. Have you listened to other songs of theirs or just
Yeah, they
this
have a
one?
couple 7 inches that were like both released like posthumously, like throughout
Okay.
the. One came out maybe like 2004. One was like 95 or something.
Yeah.
Very kind of cryptic band. Like there's hard to know much about them, which adds to the appeal for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, like I was saying, the song sounds like it's about a kid trying to commit suicide and his mom catches him. So, what's the worst thing your mom ever caught you doing?
Huh? Nothing really. I don't know. I wasn't.
You
Never
were a
been
good,
caught.
you were a good kid, huh? Or you just never got caught?
Yeah, probably mostly a good kid. Yeah, no, I don't know. I wasn't like ever doing like terrible things.
Right, right.
Maybe with other friends at like a different house where like you could just like smash VHS tapes with golf clubs in the backyard or something, but like never like any sort of criminal behavior really.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I'm not getting at that. I'm just thinking about the awkwardness of growing up, as a kid.
Yeah, no, I didn't really kind of just did my own thing. Yeah, I wasn't like I don't know, never felt that inspired to do like negative or secretive stuff in that way.
Right, right.
I don't know. I really don't have a good example. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. All right. Well, the last song is Rex. Punk is an attitude.
Okay, sweet.
Nice.
So good.
Punk is an attitude. I
Rex said it, man.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was funny. Like I was trying, like listening to all of the songs on this record. I was trying to. I noticed that there were a few bands that had some women in the bands.
Yeah, yeah.
I think this is the only band that was all female.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, in closing, last song was Rex, Punk is an Attitude. Can you confirm or deny this statement?
Yeah, no, totally true. Who would I be to, accuse Rex of not getting it?
Right, right. But I mean, from your own personal perspective, the way you
Oh,
grew up.
totally. Yeah, right. I mean, that's like how you approach life. How
Right.
you, what do you value, like what do you put your effort into? Who do you support?
Mm-hmm. It's a little bit of what we were kind of mentioning earlier about the whole like morals, like this kind of like.
Yeah, just not just satisfied with the status quo, you
Right,
know?
right. And it doesn't matter the fashion. It doesn't matter what you look like. It's matter like it's more
Yeah,
of
I
the
mean, like,
mentality.
there's definitely like a distinctive punk fashion that I don't want to discount, but I don't think you need that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think about your band and like your image of your band, like like just the new record cover alone. Let's say
Yeah, yeah, we're not like in like leather and studs and stuff.
no big tattoos, no big hair, colored,
No,
none of
but
that.
that stuff's cool. I mean, like I love that stuff. But yeah, it's just not. That's not. I mean, I got to be true to me.
Right. But that's exactly the thing is that you don't have to have that look just to be a punk. It's punk is
Right,
the
right,
attitude.
right. Totally. Yeah. No, I mean, they so eloquent.
Yeah, it's a perfect statement, really. Actually, I think for punk in general, like the whole overall feel of this album, I think that that this one really just kind of nailed it.
Totally, totally.
Cool. So that's it. We got through the record, at least the selections that
Great.
I chose.
Yeah. No, thanks so much. That was fun.
No, thank you. I appreciate you coming on and talking about it. In closing, the pandemic is ending. I kind of realized from like some interviews that I've listened to with you that it seems like Piss Jeans is kind of on like a 4 year trajectory of like almost every 4 years you're putting out a new record.
I mean, more by happenstance than by design.
Right.
I mean, we're writing a ton of songs now. I want to do it as soon as possible, but we also want it to be like really good. That's also
Of
part of it.
course.
We're not like here. We could give you like a new Piss Jeans album like every 6 months, but it would like not be that good. So we just try to work it out until we have songs that we're just 100% super psyched on. And I feel like
Right.
we're getting there now that we're back in action.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear it because I mean it's been a pretty shitty year for you having
Right?
to
Yeah,
sit
for
around the
everyone.
house, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you do in that time? Like you did work on some other music, right?
What did I do? Yeah, I made a couple like tracks with other friends or stuff here and there, just to have fun, being creative and whatnot. Did a bunch of writing, but yeah, I mean, it was just always thinking about Piss Jeans. That's always my number one, you know.
Right. And what about your blog?
Yeah, that's a lot of fun to do it. Just reviewing records, talking about other albums.
Yeah.
I love doing that. Yeah, I've done that. I mean, I've done a zine when I was in like ninth grade too. Contributed record reviews then, and kind of been doing it ever since. I mean, I've been doing the same stuff all my life, it seems, but I just hopefully get better at it and have more, experience and insight, as things go on.
Yeah. So, like, how many records do you get like every month?
Well, I mean, lately it's been a bit less because all the pressing plants are jammed up, and like every label's waiting like 9 months instead of like 2.5 months for their records. So
Yeah.
that's been a little depressing. Not for me not getting records, but for just the underground at large having difficulty, getting things out on a reasonable schedule.
Right.
But I try to write between like 25 and 30 reviews every month. It's probably been like closer to like 20, maybe a past couple of months, just because there's less stuff coming out.
Yeah. And how do people find you to go about like, getting you a record? Like, I mean,
I don't know, word of mouth. I mean, like the address is on the blog to send one.
right. Yeah.
Pretty try to keep it pretty simple. Kind of old school internet, like 2007 style.
Yeah, I noticed that about that. It's just a simple, real simple layout,
Yeah, just, who cares? Like, do you want flashy stuff or do you want to just read some thoughts?
Right. Cool. So then what's on the horizon for you guys, soon?
Yeah, just keep writing. Probably have some shows to play in the next few months, and just return to it. But yeah, it's nothing different. Just more satisfying writing music.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I mean, I think we covered it all. I mean, unless there's anything
Sweet.
specific that you needed to plug.
No, that sounds great.
Cool. All right, Matt. Well, hey, it's been a pleasure speaking with you, man. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, pleasure for me as well. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too, man. Go have fun.